Here we go. Another day, another dollar. Let's see. Oh, good morning, Lori Lee. We're starting over here with the scans. So yesterday was quite a fun, exhilarating day. I saw a lot of times after the market, I'll go back and just look around to see what was moving. And a lot of people were talking about DJT and how they got absolutely skewered on DJT. Did anybody get a chance to put their hands on DJT? Now, the only thing that I traded yesterday was STOK. STOK was the only thing that kind of met my criteria. DJT, the only reason I'm guessing that it didn't pop up on my scans is because it didn't have any relative volume that was calculatable. Didn't have any relative standard deviation. So missing those variables is very important, or I really like to have those variables for my strategy. STOK though, yesterday I was thinking, oh man, I think this thing can hold 11. And I took a little trade on it. I said, if it can't hold, I'll just go ahead and cut it. It had a little bit of weaker news. So that's why I was like, I don't want this thing to go like super hard against me. But let's jump over here to the chart on STOK. During the pre-market, it took a big move from $6 all the way up here to $13. And you can see it came up here to a high of 1274. And then in that first 15-minute candle, shot all the way back up here, tested the high and came down. And so what I was looking at, I waited till it came down. And the only thing about this, it was a lot of sideways chopping this. And so I was just waiting. The first 30 minutes passed. It ran down here to 1071. And I was like, okay, well, that's really not a pattern there. So I'm just going to continue to wait. Came back up here and started to hold the 11 again. Threw a little wick up here towards the ATR high. Still couldn't get it. And then as it formed this next, let me zoom in a little bit here. Zoom. I want to zoom in, and pan. Okay, so where are we? Okay, so as it tapped this, or struggled to tap this ATR high, I was like, it's holding towards its top side. It may end up breaking out. So when I saw this candle right here, of course, with this being consolidation, the pattern really isn't as powerful as it should be. So I went ahead and took a trade here on the break of the body of this previous red candle. So the break over like 1125-ish, I hit the buy button and it filled me at about 1137. It came up here and it started going. I was like, okay, cool. Let's see if this thing can get up. My stop out on this one was $11. I did not want to see it break under this candle here. If this candle was the pattern that I was looking for, which is the inverted hammer, it's usually a bullish sign. So I was looking for this to resolve bullishly. But with it not being a strong momentum player to the upside or the downside of this, it really wasn't a super strong move, but it did give a little bit. It gave a little bit from that 37 all the way up there to the 1150. But my target was this 1175 up here, retest of that. So let's pop over to my journal here. And this was the trade for that day. I lost 173, but I didn't give back my previous winner, which was 458. A couple of things that made me set my stop a little bit tighter on this one. One was the weak catalyst. And then let's see, I had marked this thing with a couple of mistakes. The secondary mistake that I saw, consolidation trading, I usually don't do well in. Because the patterns, they look to be the pattern that I'm looking for. And sometimes they even resolve a little bit, but they don't resolve fully. The other one was many indecision candles at the ATR high. So we look back here on the 15-minute, we saw this big candle that locked out here, but could not close out. We saw another wick up here to ATR high, couldn't close out. Another try to ATR high, couldn't close out, right? So that's what I mean by, multiple wicks up there to the ATR high, but no real breaks, no real breaking holes, right? Let's go back over here. The other thing that I saw, so there was no long pattern. I tried a little long pattern, but it was just on weaker momentum. And then, yeah, like I said, weak catalyst. So those were the three things. I took some notes on this one. The catalyst was, it was super weak, but I thought to give it a try. It met most of my criteria. The only one that it didn't meet was pretty much the pattern and the catalyst. So it was missing two things that I usually really like to see in conjunction with each other. Now it was around a whole dollar level, so I was looking for that $11 hold, but it just couldn't do it. And I'm glad that I got out because on the fail of this pattern right here, it actually made what we call a hanging man right after this pattern, which I was like, ooh, that is not good. That is a signal that it's going to go down, especially when it has a whole lot of momentum. If this is like way at the top of a move or something like that, this is a good indication that it's going to go down. And look at that next candle. So I actually set my stop right at the bottom of this previous green, right under the 11 at 10.99. Because I was like, well, maybe it'll come down to 10.99 and pop back up, which it did, making this hanging man. So I was like, this isn't going to be pretty. And I already knew it. I was like, yep, I deserve whatever happens here, but I'm going to manage the risk appropriately. So yeah, risk that. Got a little bit of slippage on my out, but I'm okay with the slippage. It was only $173. So it did not take out any of my wins, actually. All of my wins are bigger than that. So yeah, I was looking to only risk, and I can go in here and show you my risk, what I had set up here. So right here, my target was 11.75. That would have been 150 in pocket. And then I could sell half and then let the rest of it play above 11.75 if it were to do the ATR break. My stop loss was at 11. Now I put it at 10.99 because sometimes it'll come down to the whole dollar and just bounce. But after it cracked it, I was out. And so I got a little bit, I got about 5 cents of slippage, which this was my actual loss that I had planned for 150, but that slippage slipped me to 173. So I was like, okay, it's just an extra 20 bucks, whatever. I'll just take that and just roll with it. But, I'm pretty much just looking for my criteria. If it doesn't have the criteria or it doesn't have the things that I need to calculate the position to the best of my ability, I just really am kind of wary of it. DJT was one that I saw aftermarket. Now, yesterday was super busy for me too. I was in and out of meetings and all of that stuff. So I kind of took that other trade and set the stop and was like, hey, if it breaks this, it doesn't even matter. I don't move my stops. Once it's in there, I say, hey, if it stops this out, I'll just look for a different setup, or I just will walk away with that loss, right? So on DJT, this thing was making a move from down here around the 40s all the way to the 70s. First of all, this one was a higher price. I looked for news and couldn't see any news. All I know is it was connected to Trump. It had Trump's name in it. And so people were like, oh, well, it's, merging or collaborate. Well, I think it was a merger with DWAC. And there was a whole lot of, Radamaku and all of that stuff. But I would like to have a more calculated playing point in here. This thing had a huge range during the day. The ATR high up here was 78, like almost 78 bucks on the daily chart. I'm looking out on the previous day here. 78 and then a low of 63. So that's a pretty good amount of range between there, and it chose to go down instead of up. Maybe in the future it'll be a player that will have more information that I'll be able to calculate, but it is a little bit higher priced. So I don't know, maybe retail kind of got baked on it. Maybe they were dealing with either over or undersizing because of the price range. But $70 stock, $80 stock, it definitely was one of those, if you get in the wrong position, it's going to punish you. But as we can see, looking at the ATR, where it stopped, where this ATR was calculated throughout the day, it stopped pretty much around the ATR. ATR high up there, dark green. ATR low, came up there to the highs, went to the low. This was a ATR low break and recovery. So it did do a low break and recovery from the 66 all the way back up here to the 74. But, without that catalyst, how confident could you be at the ATR low break? I guess you could have sized down and took that and maybe got a nice little winner. But that just wasn't my ideal play. You can't see my screen. Oh boy. What in the what are you doing? Okay, let me get this up. Let's see. Okay. Okay. What? Man. Okay. Here we go. So DJT, I cannot believe. Let me check all this stuff, man, real quick. Give me 1 second. I got to make sure that everything is here. Okay, there's a large screen. There's that one. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay. Okay, I'm not crazy. Appreciate you for calling that out. Sometimes I don't look back at the recording or the streaming thing, and But anyway, DJT, we can still see the power of the ATR on it. And of course, this is the 15-minute ATR calculated every 14 candles. So we can see it came up to the high, failed this ATR breaking hold. We saw a lot of those failed ATR breaking holds. A lot of times when I see a lot of them passing it, breaking out and passing it, it's a lot better pattern to play because it's all, I mean, everybody's seeing this pattern over and over and they're like, oh, well, this one did it. Oh, well, this one did it. They end up getting it and it's a very strong move upwards. But on yesterday, it was a lot of failing and a lot of going back into consolidation. So that's what happened on this one. Came up ATR break, a little bit of consolidation in here for what, like 15, 30, an hour of consolidation. So that burns a lot of trading time. For me, I trade from 9 to 11, so I give it 2 hours. All of this consolidation would have burned my time here. I would be like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to end up taking a trade. And then it came down ATR low here at the 60, 66-ish. And like I said, it could have been a size down point where you take like smaller share size, maybe even half or 25% for a play off the ATR low. But that would have blessed you into the afternoon. But this is out of my time frame. I stopped trading right here at 11, so I probably would have turned my machine off right here at 11, and it would have went. I wouldn't have cared. I would be like, hey, you're out of time. You didn't do what I needed you to do in the time that I needed you to do it. So I'm gonna leave you right there on the back burner, right? And back to the other one that I thought I was showing you guys, which was Stock. SOTK. It had a little bit of the same movement, popped out of the ATR high, came back, consolidated for 15, 30, almost an hour. And then let me zoom back in and pan. Okay, so this is the pattern that I was talking about earlier, or not the pattern, because this consolidation, trading in consolidation patterns rarely work. So I saw this candle here, which is basically a inverted hammer. Now the thing is, it had a doji, which looks like an inverted hammer, but it is not. This one with more of a size to the body is the inverted hammer, and it actually resolved a little bit, right? I got in for the break of the body of this candle because this is usually a bullish move, and my target was up here at 1175. So I was waiting for this thing to touch this 1175, sell half, and look for it to move back above this value area. The only thing that was stopping me and that kept my stop tight was the weak catalyst and all of the other things that I don't know if y'all saw in the journal. But yeah, and then I saw this hanging man candle here. Hanging man is always usually a bad sign. Sometimes in consolidation, it can just go either way, but usually I was feeling real bad in my stomach when I saw this candle because I was like, ooh, it's going down. And so I had already prepared a hard stop there at 10.99, came down, stopped me out, and dropped from that 10.99, that 173 loss. If I continued to hold that without knowing this pattern, this candlestick right here, I would have been down here at the 10.34. So I would have lost another maybe 70 cents. Yeah, 70 cents down here. And I would have been feeling some type of way because I turned my machine off at 11. So I would have been turning it off right here, and I wouldn't even done anything with this. I just stopped trading, right? So I would have been devastated. I had 400 shares. So 400 share drop from that 37 to down here. So it's about $1 loss. It would have been about a $400 loss, not knowing the candlesticks, right? And that's why it's good to pair candlestick patterns with setups, right? So yeah, save me a little bit of money there. Um, and let's pop back over here. I don't know if y'all saw the journal, but this was pretty much the setup on STOK yesterday. Ended up taking about a $43 loss. I had it set a little bit less than this, but got some slippage. I had set out my targets, which was $11.75, $150 in pocket, to lock in and put it my stop at that price, and then wait for a higher move, but it didn't happen. And then I had my stop at $11. And the way that TraderSync works, when you enter these in, it automatically calculates what the loss will be. You just enter your target. So if I was to be just moving my stop around or whatnot, and let's say that I did move my stop up to 11.75, or no. Let's say if I got greedy and I didn't stop out, and my new stop is at 10.50, and I'll hit enter, and it'll recalculate that new loss. So that drop to 34 would have put me at least down 350. So if I put 1034 on this one, which is where it kind of dropped to, how much of a loss would that have been? That would have been a $414 loss instead of the loss that I took here, which was 173. Now, yes, this loss right here is still wouldn't have taken out my last winner. So my last winner was 458. So it just would have ate up all of my profit from my last winner, which I do not want to do. I don't want to risk, so much that I'm blowing up winners. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And let me delete those out of there. Delete. And delete. And basically, so in this application, they use TradingView as their charting. So you can actually go back and look at where you entered. I entered into this consolidation like a maniac. And I trade on the 15 minutes. So let's go to the 15 minutes and see what it's looking like. Okay. And it will automatically put your target price up here, that 11.75, and then any stops that you enter down here. So the risk 150, and was looking for at least to start off with a 1-to-1, right? Get that 1-to-1, that 150, and look for a higher press into this previous level, right? So it kind of makes sense when you look at it this way, what I was risking, where I was risking. If you look at the stop price, this $11 was tested multiple times. Had to pull up here, had to pull up back here, had to pull up right here. And I was like, okay, if it breaks this level, I'm just out. I'm not going to play with it. But yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at on yesterday. So back over here to the scans today, we have DJT up here, 68%. Still cannot calculate relative volume or anything on it, but it looks like it has a higher float. It has 113 million shares outstanding. Yesterday I was checking it, it had like 29 million in the float. So not as high of a float as I thought that it was going to be, but still, I'd rather take the loss that I took than be trading something that I can't calculate. Because trading is about math in the end, right? Math and pattern recognition, right? That's it. But looking around, let's see what we got. NVCR. What is this thing? What is this thing? NVCR absolutely dumping on down here, up 17%. Maybe the action is in the lower cost stocks today, because I'm seeing NVCR and DJT, and I'm thinking this just looks like a nice little descent, but it has definitely has some momentum. Lost $3 here down to the bottom. The point of control is up here at the 16, so has a possibility of going back up, maybe there. One of the things that I do like about something that has a wide range is I trade doji to doji. So I look for the previous doji. So this doji right here, 1618, and I see I set that as my kind of like take half and let the rest ride, right? If it gets back up to that doji, great, and I get out. But down here, I have to wait for a doji to trade to a doji. So I don't see any dojis down here, any indecision that can get back up there, or any patterns that would be getting back up there. And so I guess I got a couple of setups that I use. I use the ATR breakout, ATR break and hold, ATR low break and recovery, and then the doji to doji pattern. Where's the indecision where I'm at, and can we trade back to previous indecision? Can that be become support or resistance or whatnot? So it's just, I try to keep it simple in my head so it doesn't become crazy. But yeah, MVCR, let's see. Anyway, did you guys end up trading anything yesterday that is to be noted or to be notarized? Maybe y'all found some type of other value in the lower price stocks, or you found a new swing or something like that. I know Reliable Rudy, he was telling me he was we've been looking at this stock Vail for a minute for a dividend play. Vail is a pretty good setup on it. Let me go over here to the higher time frames. Y'all are already over here. So Vail, we've been watching this one for a while, and I just didn't want to be greedy. I'm thinking it can see he's been buying, non-stop on Vail. That's how he invests in dividends. I'm like, I'm too much of I guess I'm too much. My day trade mentality comes in so much that I'm like, I want to wait for support. And so where I was seeing support is like, down here, maybe $10 or, under 10 even on Vail. And I'll be willing to start buying because it pays a nice dividend. And Vail, if we go over and look at the what it actually is, y'all will be surprised here. So let's look at this profile. Vail SA, together with its subsidiaries, produces and sells iron ore. The iron ore pellets for use as raw materials in steel making in Brazil and internationally. The company operates through Iron Solutions and Energy Transition Materials segments. The Iron Solutions segment produces and extracts iron ore and pellets, manganese, and other ferrous or iron products, and provides related logistic services. The Energy Transition Materials segment produces and extracts nickel used to produce stainless steel, electric vehicles, and metal alloys. And its byproducts such as gold, silver, cobalt, precious metals, platinum, and others, as well as copper used in the construction sector to produce pipes and electrical wires. The company was formerly known as whatever Vail do Rio Doce and changed its name to Vail SA in 2009. Was founded in 1942. So this one we've been keeping an eye on, but I'm waiting for it to come down a little bit more. Pretty much all of my dividends together are, I pretty much focus on things that have good financials. They are, solid companies in the financial matters, and then cheap. So I want to see them come on down and get to a price that just doesn't make sense. It's like, why is this low? And then I start buying and I start filling up the tank. And so, now my dividends are doing very well all together, even individually, actually, every month and every quarter that I get paid. So, just look for things dropping and take a little scab, because if we look back on the higher time frames, we can see where it has been. So it has been up to 40, has some nice years, 2005, 2010, up to 40. So buying around 10, and holding and getting paid to wait is the objective, right? You get some, let's say you buy it at 10 and it goes to 20. Okay, cool. Well, it's at 20 now, but it's paying a dividend. Oh boy, it's going up to 30, but it's still paying you a dividend. Oh boy, it's at 35 per share and it's still paying you a dividend. So that's the idea. Buy low, and if you want to, you can sell high or you can continue to hold, right? Now, of course, like I said, I kind of have a day trader mentality. If it gets up here to 40, I'm looking to take some profit. We're going to be at some type of notable resistance. And so I'm like, okay, let me take some off of this so we can, better plan for the future. And plus, if I get, let's say usually I'm trying to get about 500 shares or whatever stock that I'm getting into. Sometimes I get all 500, sometimes I don't, because I kind of build the position out. I never just enter 500 and be like, okay, let's go. I usually buy a little bit here, buy a little bit there, buy from month to month, and then once I get to 500, I just let it sit. So if I got 500 shares at 10, goes up to $15, but it's still paying a dividend, I'm looking sweet, which is what the rest of my portfolio looks like. I only have like two or three stocks in there that are red, but it's because I've just started buying them, and so I'm just building the position right now, just building it out. And so I advise anybody that does day trading definitely get into dividends because um, it can cushion any blows that you take from trading. Like, especially if you have a good risk management system already. But even if you don't have a good risk management system and you're losing, at least you got something coming back into your back pocket. Now, yes, you have to pay taxes on dividends for sure. Um, and you have to know whether you have qualified or unqualified dividends. So yes, there's some tax implications, but it's still profit coming back to you and you're getting paid to wait. Plus, dividends can rise, dividends can fall. So they can pay more, they can pay less. For me, if they start paying less and they really start just not doing anything for my portfolio, I just kick them out. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'll find something else. I can use that money for something else. Reliable Rudy, he hates me for that. He's like, man, you always selling these stocks because they doing buybacks and they decreasing the dividend. Well, I have a dividend portfolio. The whole purpose of everything in there is to make me money like now, right? So I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll sell it. We got about 2 minutes to the bell. Mike D says he's gonna get into PLTR soon. Good morning, GD. Wait, I thought I PLTR. PLTR. So looking over here on the larger time frame, PLTR hit this. We must have looked at this before because these are old lines. These aren't white. So it hit some type of monthly resistance here at 26. It's forming kind of like what we call a rickshaw man up here. But since this is up top, it may be a spinning top, but it doesn't have a big enough body to be a spinning top. We'll have to see how the month closes on this one. Kind of doji. I usually trade from doji to doji. Even in my dividends, I'm looking for that doji to trade up and see if it can continue to hold the previous doji. So the previous doji that I see on the nearest level is the 2339. So it needs to hold above that and just continue to hold above 2339 really. And it could be looking to get up and out of 27 after it ends up holding that, confirming that it can hold that. We have about 50 seconds to the bell as well. And right now, we'll start looking at DJT and we'll look at MVCR as well. Both of these two are, actually MVCR is dying. MVCR may be, it's down to 13%. That's not beautiful at all. So don't worry about MVRC, just DJT, and we'll see if anything else populates on the lower price ranges. Here we go. 18 seconds left. Let's get it. Good morning, GD. Good morning, everybody that is tuning in across all the platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Kick, Twitter, Twitch. Everybody, appreciate you for tuning in. All right, so DJT coming out. Has the new ATR low and high calculated already. What is ATR on this one? Oh, it's okay. So it's just calculating based on the last. So it doesn't even have an ATR that I'm seeing. Oh, yes, it does. Let's go over here to the larger time frame. So the ATR right now is $7.09 on this one. That is a big ATR. That's huge. So the bottom of this ATR is 62.91. The top side is 78.70. That is a huge ATR. Oh my gosh. $7.09. So if you get caught going down, you may want to pull the chute, because I don't know if it's going to, that momentum can carry this thing. I am seeing a lower price one, IBIO, $2.74, up 140%. And remember, for the lower price to pop on my scans, they got to be over 100%. I already know. So the ATR high here is up at 289. ATR low, based on the 15-minute, is at the 251. Let's jump over to the higher time frames and see what it is over here. We got 289 up here, which it is breaking out of on the daily, and we got a low of 252. Okay, and total ATR is 18 cents. So it may end up stretching that ATR out. But right now, testing the ATR high here. Can it break and hold up that ATR is the question. So IBIO, it's looking like the looker for today, up 153% here. The volume, or the volume profile, the high is at, or the value high is at 294. Value low is down here at 203. But if it goes all the way down to 203, it's going to break that ATR low, and it's not going to be looking good on the day. But for now, it is looking bullish above this ATR high level. And when I talk about my scans, I literally, like, these two scans are the ones that I usually trade off of. And so there's literally one here. There is none here. So I'm not getting that foggy vision of just trying to trade everything and go through a rotation. I focus in pretty quick because of how my scans are set up and how, I view the market. And I don't like getting to a point where I'm just seeing, oh, this is valuable. Oh, this is valuable. Oh, no, I need to research and take my time. If something just pops up, I need to go and look into it before I end up, trying to hit the buy button. We did hit the ATR high up here and saw a little bit of resistance. We also tested the low. And so this is a little bit of indecision right back into the middle. This is kind of how STOK was yesterday before it ended up going up. But this is a whole different stock, and we would need to see why this thing is moving to really evaluate what's going on. So let's go and do that on IBIO. Let's go to press releases. And I usually don't look at news because news can be spoofed. They're like, oh, you should have did this. Oh, you should have did that. But press releases are specific to the company, not speculation so much. You know what I mean? Like, it's more direct to what's actually going on in the company. 13 hours ago, IBO announces a 15.0. Why did I say 15.0? 15 million private placement. 2 hours ago, IBIO and AstroBio announced transformative AI drug discovery collaboration to rapidly develop novel antibodies for obesity and cardiometabolic diseases. Okay, let's click into that. Still up, still at 250 right now. It is gone all the way. If we look on the higher time frame, we can see that ATR low that was calculated, it is now bouncing that low, right? It's at the lows, or at the ATR low. I wouldn't say it's at the lows. It can continue lower, but based on the calculation, it is down. Okay, so let's look at this. So let's see. Announces today it has entered into a collaboration. IBO announced a closing of its private placement, 15 million. Is there any other money talk in here though? Now I saw something about obesity. Some people they like obesity and all of that. The only really bio or the medical stocks that, or the medical catalyst that I'm really interested in is breast cancer. That always goes crazy. And then some of the more like inflammatory bowel disease or something that affects a whole lot of people. And you can go on Google or you go to Bing and see the rarity of the thing that they're actually trying to fix, right? And so when you look at that rarity, that can help you make your decision on, how many people are really gonna benefit from this. Is this something big enough to start changing the world Or is it just like, it only affects like 1 out of every 2 billion people? It's like, that's not too good, right? May not be something that investors jump on like that. But back over here to the article. Let's see. So they're just talking about treating millions of patients of obesity and cardiometabolic disease globally. All right. So is it better than running though? Is it better than, yoga or, calisthenics though? Is this drug better? Maybe it's like I hope it's not like a shortcut that comes with like 100 side effects like most medications do. But, we'll see in the future. A lot of times I like to, when I talk about these medical articles and stuff, I do like to kind of just stick with what they have in the article and not do too much speculation, because um, being on the Framework Fortune channel, a lot of the stuff, if you do speculation, they will actually cut your videos. They will not cut your videos, but demonetize you for speculating on, these little small caps and these companies. So I just kind of stick with what they have there in the article. YouTube's kind of particular with that. Oh, this is misinformation. I don't want to do that. I want to give you what's in the article and not do too much speculation. Maybe I'll think about the value of what the article is saying, but as far as being like, oh man, this thing can go to the moon because X, Y, and Z, I just give you my thoughts, and that's all I can do, right? But yeah, IBIO breaking down that ATR low. The only thing that we can look for now, we know under the ATR low is bullish moves on bearish momentum. So that's, unless, and now this candle hasn't closed, it could pop all the way back up here into the 260s. So you have to kind of wait for the candle to close. But as far as right now, what I usually think as the ATR low is breaking is bullish moves on bearish action. So you'll be buying the lows, trying to get a quick scalp. And what I mean by quick, I mean quick, like 5-10 minutes, because it's probably going to continue going down. So, I just, that's how I'm thinking. DJT popped back up to the middle. It did what we were just talking about on the other one. Came down here to the low, popped all the way back up in here to the middle. But it's only up 20%, so I don't know how much it's going to be able to compete with IBIO. If it'll continue to ride on the scanners here, we'll see. IBIO pushing on down there. And the control, the point of control right here is at the 248. And it is pushing well away from the daily ATR low, which is at the 250. And used to be when I was trading with the VWAP and all of that stuff, I was looking at the VWAP. I was like, man, this thing can come back up to the VWAP, right? But I didn't understand how many brick walls was between the price action that was currently going and the VWAP. So you got the ATR calculations, you got people that are using Fibonacci's, you got people that are using all kinds of stuff that are blockers to it going back up, right? So it's got to run into a significant level that will cause people to want to turn around before it turns around, right? And then when it's over the ATR, people trade above the VWAP, but there's a lot of protection for longs back towards the VWAP that are fibs and the ATR high and all of this stuff as the VWAP moves away from it, right? So it's just what you know, and sometimes you only know what you know, right? If you don't know, it can hurt, but it can also help. Sometimes if you don't know, like I don't know where the VWAP is right now, but I do know that I'm looking for bullish moves on a bearish momentum, right? So it's like, what do you actually need in the market for your trading style? What is SMR? I'm seeing that one pop up 22%. It just popped over $5. This is one that I will be, for my strategy, I would like to see it well above $5. I don't know if it's going to find a whole lot of resistance, but it is popping up there. If it goes back under $5, it will disappear off of my scans, because below $5, it needs to be over 100%. So we'll see what that does. And IBIO is still pushing down. So Just watching everything populate. Looks like it did some type of breakout. Let me see if it has any news on it. SMR. New Scale Power Corporation. Press releases. Okay, so the last news was on March 14th. It reported its fourth quarter and full year 2023 results, so it doesn't really have any news for today. I'd rather have weak news than no news. Like, give me something around this time. I guarantee you it does. It probably has regular news, though. Let's see if it has regular news. 5 days ago, it doesn't even have regular news. Okay. It has neither. So that would probably be one that's going to struggle to hold over 5. Already down to 493. Going back down, probably going to be disappearing off of my scans real quick. And DJT ended up, like I said, this candle had not closed yet. And we like to wait for these candles to close, especially with something that has a $7 ATR. $7 ATR. That means half of the ATR is like $4. So, like, if it's going against you, it can really take everything out of your back pocket and front pocket. But yeah, SMR gonna be disappearing here real quick. And IBIO. So we're pretty much seeing the top 3 that people are really attacking above. We're seeing the top 3 that people are really attacking above $5. We'll see if anything lower comes out. Okay. Okay, so, but yeah, a little bit of a struggle back and forth between the 5s. And, you know, taking this into observation, when I do eventually, I plan on trying to do some shorts, but I don't want to do it on TOS. I may do it on something else that's better for short locates. But these kind of stocks right here, they're just built to go down, man. No catalyst, no nothing. Now, of course, you can run into a short squeeze where things start getting ugly, which I would say, you know, the stop right now would be what, $5.25? That's a 25 cents from $5, but, you know, I'm thinking it's not going to hold the 5, right? But it is above the ATR, so still looking for bearish action on bullish momentum, bearish action for entries on the bullish momentum upward. DJT, man, dropping like its soul is on fire, boy. Woo! All the way down to the bottom of this volume profile value level, 66.56. Now this level here could turn it around. This is the bottom side of the 70 percentile, or the top 70% of what's been traded today. Now it is dipping through here, and now the value level has moved. That's not good. It moved down a lot. So now the value level is down here to 65, and that's not good. And it's way, way away from the ATR low. But this one continued to hold up to 5 as SMR. IBIO, are you going to continue to dump down as well? This candle, all of these 15-minute candles are closing in 10 seconds. So we'll see what the closes look like and if they're going to continue downward. All right, so IBIO closed under the ATR low. DJT, of course, it closed under ATR low. And then SMR formed a nice little top. What's the probability that it pops all the way over the 518s with no catalyst? I think that's a low probability. And right now, I think the shorts are just calculating and seeing where they want to get in. If it does pop up a little bit, it's just going to give them some entries before this reversal, I think. Maybe it'll grind higher. We'll see. It is above the ATR high, so. But let's look at the larger time frame on this one on SMR. That's one thing we didn't do. So looking over here, it has been beat down for a little bit. Popped, oh my goodness, popped all the way out here to 1120 at some point in this month. This is a monthly candle. And then had a huge rip down. So started at $2, went all the way to 12, huge rip down. And this is our weekly candle. So this gives context to what's going on right now. We see this huge sell-off. And now after this, just a little bit of a bounce after this huge fall from 12 to 4. And then looking on the daily chart here, we can see that it is way away from the daily ATR of 559. It's kind of just trading in the middle. May just be just trade in consolidation on today. So this gives context to what we're looking at on the 15-minute. 15-minute looks pretty bullish, right? Big old rip through the ATR. We may be thinking, okay, this may do an ATR high break and hold, but with the rest of the context, yeah, we like, let's just observe. Let's just observe. But we do see that it was not able to hold at $5. May consolidate, may give a little bit of move, but it's definitely got a war zone all the way up here to 518 that it will need to break above. Back over to IBIO. Like I said, we're looking for bullish behavior on a bearish momentum. See, the good thing about trading above the ATR and looking for a bearish behavior for bullish momentum, you're buying on the low. You're buying as this red, right? You're not buying green candles. And so then you get that reprieve higher on the momentum. Down here, you better buy when it's green, because this thing can continue to dump like we saw on DJT, right? Trying to get back up there to the ATR high. And, you know, if you bought when it was green, that's 65 back up here to 67. That's a $2 rip. But now we're seeing a little bit of pressure coming there. You bought when it's green. You made your money. If you're not taking profit, it may get real dicey real quick. Did I play Reddit? I did not play Reddit. Reddit was IPO, and for the IPOs, I can't really do my calculations for my trades. It just doesn't calculate IPOs because I need those previous candles to do my calculations, those previous days and weeks and all of that stuff. This thing opened up, played all the way up here to 70. And was kind of like a chop fest. I didn't see too many small cap people trading Reddit that were notable, like that were pretty big small cap traders. For this one, maybe you could have swung a small position, but for me, it's just I'm okay. I'm okay. And on the day that it did go up, I mean, it's just not giving me any calculations. If we look over here on my daily chart, no calculations based on ATR, no relative standard deviation. I don't know what this thing is doing. All I know is the volume right here coming in. 3,164,000. That's all I know. So I'm missing major points in my calculation for a trade. And I just don't want to break my rules trading something that I know nothing about. But as of now, we see that Reddit is slowly making its way down. It went up to the 74s and came down to the 60s. Shares outstanding on it was 158, but on the float, it was like 30. It was a lower float relative to the shares outstanding. The market cap on this one is looking almost like a mid cap, almost, with almost 10 million in the market cap. So, you know, definitely one that could chop you up and spit you out. Takes a lot of money to move that one. Oh boy, my AT&T is up. Oh my gosh, what in the world? Yes, Lord. I say yes. Oh my goodness. 1750? Keep going, baby. Keep going. So as y'all know, I bought AT&T when it was $13 as a dividend play, and it's still paying me dividends. But now I'm like, okay, I see you, AT&T. I got you on speed dial. Let's go. Let's get it. All right, GameStop. What in the world? GameStop's up here. What these meme stocks doing up here? Okay, so GameStop had a pretty big fall off. I did see some things on YouTube, some videos that came into my feed because I watch a lot of like stock stuff. So I see GameStop and I see AMC, and I'm like, the meme stocks. We'll see what they do. But we can see right here they got punched in the mouth from 15 to 12. Once they get low enough, everybody will get back in and be like, just hold, guys. Just hold. We're going to do this again. Just hold, guys. Like they did back here. What was this? 2020, where it went from $3 up to 120. Just hold, guys. But this sell-off, kind of shows the true value of the company. Going up, coming back down. So, GameStop. Let's look through a couple more of these. We got Reddit. Is it Donut? I don't know what D nut is, but XPIL. So basically what this scanner is doing is looking for the top 50 stocks in the market that are receiving the top volume, right? So all of these, if they fall out of this, let's say if everything, some of the ones that are weaker aren't getting attention throughout the day, they just fall off. And I just see the top 50. I see the lowest one, which is GameStop. Then I see the highest one, which is DJT. And basically what I'm focused on is things above $5. You won't see anything on there that's under $5. So looking for those things that can pay out that range. DJT did break another low, coming down here, breaking another value level down here. Not looking great. Getting away from that ATR. So like I said, that green, you had to buy when the candle is green, because now if you're buying now when it's red, what's going to happen to you? Let's see what happens. Will it drop through 65 here is the question. Oh, well, there it goes. There goes your shoes and shoelaces. Right on from 65 all the way to 64.36. And this is what I'm talking about with the bullish move on a bearish momentum. Gotta buy when it's green. Above, you don't. You buy when it's red. For the most part. Well, yeah. For the most part. All right, IBIO. Threw a little wick down here, 231s right above the 225s. The only play that I could see this one doing is maybe an ATR recovery, but it's got to get back over the ATR and get some body candle above this ATR, which is the 248. And I don't know how likely that's going to be. And the problem is it's so close to this ATR low, it can get shoved right back down. MVCR looking nasty. And basically, I'm looking for things that are up 10%. Right now on the scans, I mean, there's not a lot up here over 10% except DJT, and it continues diving off. So, it's like MVCR is kind of close, but that's no juice. I like to see the relative volume above 5. And if we look down the list, there's not a whole lot of relative volumes down over 5. And then relative standard deviation, I like to see that over usually like 6 or 7 is pretty good for those calculations. And we're not seeing a whole lot of that over 5 today either. Reddit continues to dump down. Continue to dive bomb here. Down -9%. So, it happens. So at this point, I'm like, who's gonna make it, man? DJT just broke down the 64s again. Is it gonna hold down here and try to go for lower lows? Now remember, the ATR on this thing was $7.92. So let's calculate. It went from $7.96 at the high up here down to $63.77. So is that 7? Let me go. Where's my calculator? because I'm a lazy bum. All right, so the high up here, 71.93 minus the low 63.50. How much of the ATR has it covered? $8. So this is its whole ATR that is covered in this move. $7.92. It went a little bit further, but we also have to remember that sometimes the volume runs out and it'll stay down here. It doesn't go back up. It just stays. So I'll be very careful. It's already past this ATR on the day. Looking on the daily chart over here, we can see it's just big red, you know. Big red going towards that ATR low of the 62.89. Below the 62.89, it's really going to be looking bearish. But we'll see if it can get there today or if it'll grind down there. Right now, forming what looks like a rickshaw man, big wick to either side, which is what we call a rickshaw if it can close that way. But we're seeing it pop and drop a little bit, though. IBIO is coming back up. It recovered the ATR low here. So can it continue to hold this ATR low? Looking over here at y'all's chats, let's see. Donnell called out LIXT. We'll look at that one too. IBIO is coming back into play though. LIXT. Let's see. Up 58%. That thing's going to need 100. That thing's going to need 100, man. IBIO is looking like it's coming back into play though here. Now remember, now we're into a range where it's going to have to make some decisions. It has a previous body high up here of 270. So 270, it just threw a wick almost all the way up there. Okay. 270. And then it is holding up this ATR low around, we'll just put it at 250. Let's say around 250. So we got a little range. The question is, can it break towards the highs? And I don't remember this thing. Yeah, it had a little bit of catalyst on the day as well. So to me, IBIO is probably going to win out on LIXT just based because it's 132%. But it's getting back up here to these 270s. And now for me, I like to wait for candles to close. Even though it's looking really, really bullish right now, it can be continuing to lie to us. This one has about 2 minutes. 2 minutes until the candle closes. And we'll see its true intentions coming into this close on this 15-minute candle. If you're trading a lower time frame, then, it'll be a little bit different. But we'll see how this 15-minute closes in like a minute or so. IBIO, man. Got all eyes on it. Let's look at this relative. Let's look at its stats and stuff. IBIO in comparison to this other one. So if we look over here on the scan, we can see that both of them, one IBIO has a smaller ATR, LIXT has a larger ATR, but who's going to be looking at it here? And does it have catalysts on the day? Relative volume, IBIO is still trying to catch up with LIXT. Both of them have pretty good relative standard deviations, but IBIO is definitely getting the volume. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go and look and see if there's any news on LXIT or whatever it's called. LIXT. Press releases. Let's see what it's got. 6 days ago, or actually, let's read the most. Okay, so new scientific publication shows LB100 LIXT's lead clinical compound can force cancer cells to give up their cancer-causing properties. Uh-oh. That sounds powerful. But will the people react today to this news? Will they go over here and really bank on this thing, right? That's some pretty powerful news. Let's read into it. So LIXT, a clinical stage pharmaceutical company, announced today publication of preclinical. This is preclinical data. This has not been tested. Okay, so we gotta make sure we highlight these words. Preclinical. Okay, showing that its lead clinical compound, LB100, can force cancer cells to give up their cancer-causing properties in a paper entitled Paradoxical Activation of Oncogenic Signaling as a Cancer Treatment Strategy. So this is a theory. The finding opens a potentially new treatment strategy in addition to the current 3 clinical trials, as will be published in July 2024. That may be a date if you do trade biomedical stocks. That may be a date to watch for this one, July 24, or a month to watch for this one. LB100 was shown to trigger activation of the signals that are responsible for the deregulated proliferation of cancer cells. Okay, so we gotta make sure that we highlight these words in here. Preclinical. So we'll see, maybe it went up because people didn't see the preclinical. We'll see though. That's got a lot of testing, and it's not a whole lot of other news on here. So I'll definitely be careful on that one. IBO. Well, I didn't even see IBIO did break over this 271 going up there to the ATR high. My bad. Kind of took my eyes off of this one. Took my eyes off the prize, right? LIXT is not on my scanner for a reason. No, I'm kidding. But it definitely could catch some people slipping today with that preclinical news in there. But IBIO actually has some catalyst getting up there to the ATR high, testing. This previous candle did close green and hold the ATR low there, like we were looking at. And LIXT just going on down. So yeah, IBIO is looking like the looker for today. And it looks like it actually caught up with the other one in relative volume relatively quickly. We were looking at this relative volume like a second ago, and this one was 400 something. Now it's jumped way over LIXT relative volume. 500, almost 550 times the relative volume with the relative standard deviation higher as well. Just an insane rip in the last couple of minutes. All right, so we'll see how this candle. Well, actually, no, I need to get out of here. I've already went past my time. Okay, guys. So IBIO is looking like the place that people are going to be looking. Be careful with LIXT. That's preclinical news. It has not gone to the clinic, hadn't even been tested. So be careful with that. But IBIO definitely moving up here. But that is it for me today. I got to get on down the road. I'm probably not going to be trading IBIO because of the price range. I'd like for it to be a little bit higher price. But it may be a grinder throughout the day. It may continue going. So definitely if you have a strategy to use on it, have at it. Right now, it is still trying to break out of this this $3 level, really, to go higher. But yeah, that is it for me today. I got to get gone. This is a nice hump day. A lot of action coming in here, especially for the small caps. Oh yeah, somebody's messaging me already. All right, so yeah, I got to get over here to this meeting. Appreciate you guys for tuning in all over. Appreciate your chats and comments. And if you have any questions or anything like that, we do have the Discord that you can join. I can jump in there. We can do video calls or whatever, if you want to look at a strategy or you have another type of strategy, we do all of that over there. Oh my goodness, this thing just absolutely flooded down from that ATR high. But anyway, I need to close out. But yeah. It's back to the 271 now. And that is it for me today. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Peace.